Welcome everyone to another IDW Sonic comic review, and today we're taking a look at Amy's 30th anniversary special. I knew this would happen. I hope future visits to the classic era are not limited to just the anniversary specials, but if they are, and if the focus is going to be on other Sonic characters, next up would probably be Amy Rose, since Sonic CD's 30th anniversary is coming up in 2023. Having a comic special for Sonic's 30th anniversary made sense given, well, you know, but I was surprised that Tails got an anniversary special the next year. Then again, it was the anniversary of one of the most popular 2D Sonic games of all time, and it was the Two-Tailed Fox's debut. Well, technically 8-Bit Sonic 2 came out first, and he appeared in that game, but I'm not going to go through all that again. So yeah, on the anniversary of Sonic CD, it's time for Amy Rose to take the spotlight. In fact, 2023 was a big year for Amy in general. There was a free Steam game set around her birthday, her classic self was officially made playable in Sonic Origins Plus, and will be playable in Sonic Superstars, and finally her modern self became playable as part of Sonic Frontier's final DLC. But let's not forget where she came from. Originally conceived as a one-sided love interest for Sonic, Amy over time has developed more of a strong-willed, compassionate side. She's also a bit of a powerhouse thanks to her Pico Pico hammer, and utilizes some obscure trait known as fortune card reading. Wonder if that'll come into play. She has come a long way from being that one annoying pink hedgehog that won't stop following Sonic, and has gotten more popular throughout the fandom in her 30 years of existence. I know she first appeared in a Sonic manga in 1992, but Sonic CD, her first game appearance, came out in 1993. And that's what she's being celebrated for. Hence all the Amy-related stuff coming out in 2023. IDW once again is joining in on the festivities. Of course, being an anniversary special, it means we're heading back into the classic era. Hey, any excuse to revisit this period is okay with me. Alright, enough stalling, let's dive right into Amy's anniversary special, and spoilers from here on out. The story begins with Amy having a little party with some animal buddies in Flower Field Zone. As a special treat, she breaks out her fortune cards to do some reading. After reminiscing on how the cards helped her meet Sonic for the first time, because she always has to bring that up, she draws a card, and it's not a good one. Unless you count the Sanopolis ghost holding a scythe, good luck. Amy has her animal friends hide right away. Her intuition turns out to be correct as moments later, Metal Sonic arrives. And with no Amy in his line of sight, he takes off. But not before destroying a delicious piece of cake in frustration. Monster! Amy believes Eggman's up to no good again, and wants to warn her friends. Just to make sure she's doing the right thing, she once again consoles the cards, and 4 of them indicate she will meet some familiar faces. Amy leaves her animal friends behind, however one of them, a Flicky, wants to tag along. Pulling out one of the familiar faces cards, a Chaos Emerald, Amy believes it revolves around willpower. The best person representing that trait in her mind is Sonic. She comes across an egg capsule, and she's worried that the doctor is capturing animals again, or worse, capturing people like Sonic himself. Let's see who's inside. Amy, if you please? And it's Fang. He explains his gang botched the job, and were imprisoned by Eggman as a result. With confirmation of another Eggman scheme in progress, Amy suggests working together. Fang instead storms off on his own to rescue Bean and Bark. The Flicky questions the reading of the Chaos Emerald card, and Amy said it wasn't wrong. It's centered around willpower, and Fang is a very determined hunter. The fortune cards are just guideposts. They don't predict the future per se. Well, they probably should because Amy's in danger. Not far behind, Metal Sonic arrives at Fang's open capsule, and has determined who let him loose. He enters the forest where Amy and the Flicky are currently traveling in. The two hide the moment they hear his approach. Something tells me Amy's experiencing PTSD from her time at Little Planet. This time, Metal Sonic does a more thorough search, causing Amy to stealthily move around a bit. Eventually, Metal Sonic gives up and leaves. Amy and the Flicky continue on their journey, and she consoles the next familiar face card, 2 Foxtails. To her, it means they'll come across a compassionate and supportive individual. That's a fitting description of Tails in her mind. And comic, you just had to use that image from 8-Bit Sonic 2's bad ending, didn't ya? Soon they run into another egg capsule, and Amy believes Tails is inside. I mean, he has to be. His tails are in a fortune card. Amy opens it up, and it's Ray the Flying Squirrel. He explains that Metal Sonic is after all of them, as the robot earlier ambushed him and Mighty, imprisoning both of them separately. Amy vows to rescue Mighty and anyone else captured by Metal Sonic. The Flicky calls out Amy for once again being wrong. However, Amy again points out that the card was right. It meant compassionate and supportive, and that perfectly describes Ray. When you get down to it, Ray is the Tails to Mighty Sonic. Amy whips out the third familiar face card, a Knight, which represents heroism and strength. Ray believes they'll run into Mighty, but Amy's a little more cautious this time. They could find Mighty, but they could also meet Sonic, or even Knuckles if Metal Sonic is going after everyone. They just have to wait and see who they'll run into next. The three arrive at Market Harbor Zone, where the Doctor's egg robos have taken over the place. They spot another egg capsule near the docks, and with a lot of enemies around, it'll be hard to approach it undetected. The Flicky volunteers to fly over and open it with Amy's hammer. So, who is it this time? Why? It's Bark. Right away, he starts trashing egg robos. However, the robots have numbers on their side. Time for Amy and Ray to intervene. And in no time, the egg robos are destroyed. Ray now questions Amy's card reading, as he notes that he's seen Bark on wanted posters, i.e. he's not heroic. Amy counters that Bark is one of the strongest people they know, plus deep down, he's a big softie that hangs out with a bad crowd. Even though he doesn't say anything, Bark knows she's right. Plus, he does agree to join Amy and Ray on their mission to save their friends. Amy convinced him to do so on the basis of revenge against Eggman and to reunite with his gang faster. The group doesn't need Amy's cards to point out their next destination, as she has the brilliant idea of using a nearby supply boat's logs. Hijacking said boat, they make their way to Eggman Island Zone. I'm not surprised Eggman would have an island he named after himself. This is the same guy that will one day build Eggman Land. He even built everything on the island, including the plants, which Amy learns the hard way. She'll be fine. Besides, according to the last familiar face card, they'll be reuniting with their friends soon. They better hurry up as Metal Sonic is hot on their trail. The more he realizes Amy's involvement, the more pissed he gets. And he must have traveled fast because not long after Amy's group arrives at the base full of egg capsules, the robot doppelganger drops in right in front of them. Bark holds them off while Amy, Ray, and the Flickies start freeing captives. Luckily, Amy's first capsule contains Sonic the Hedgehog. He was investigating the island until Metal Sonic ambushed him. Hey, Amy was right. It just happened in a different location. While he's ready for payback, Amy asks him to free the animals instead, as she has an idea involving a lot of Flickies. There is an added bonus to a freed Sonic. He'll serve as a nice distraction for Metal Sonic. Ray opens his first capsule, and it has Bean inside. He's disappointed as he was just getting comfortable, even decorated the place and everything. During the chaos, Amy sees the returning Fang on top of an open egg capsule. His glare makes Amy realize it's time to pull off a different stunt. She goads Metal Sonic to come after her since she ruined his plans. Metal Sonic takes the bait. Amy manages to get out of the way, and Metal Sonic slams straight into the egg capsule. And that is the end of that. With everyone free, including Tails and Mighty, the Fang Gang are off to do their own thing, while Amy invites all of her freed friends to the party she had earlier. Now rechristened a victory party, Sonic gives a toast to the real hero of the day, Amy Rose. The Flicky and Ray bring up another possibility with regards to the 4 familiar faces cards. Instead of each representing a different person, what if together they represent Amy Rose, as she is strong-willed, compassionate, supportive, heroic, and most importantly, surrounded by her friends. Amy doesn't deny this possibility as the cards can be interpreted in many ways. The only thing that matters right now is everyone is having a happy ending. Almost everyone. That night, Eggman arrives at his island to find almost all of his capsules empty. He's so mad about Metal Sonic failing to do his job that he didn't notice Metal Sonic's still trapped in one of the active egg capsules. Something tells me Metal Sonic's better off inside there for the moment. Just as Sonic's 30th anniversary was also the anniversary of Dr. Eggman, he did get his own story after all. Amy's 30th anniversary is also the anniversary of Sonic's primary robotic doppelganger, Metal Sonic, so naturally he'd be the main villain of the story. He must have been in top form since he was able to capture a lot of powerful individuals, including Sonic. Yeah, this is the second anniversary special that has Sonic incapacitated, so that the focus character can be the hero. At least with Witchcart, it's an enemy he's unfamiliar with. But getting caught by Metal Sonic? I guess he was having an off day. Though I do like how he was not happy about it, even though he looks surprisingly chill. Don't get me wrong, I'm okay if the hero character is incapacitated so that someone else can get the spotlight, but again, this is the second anniversary special in a row that does this. I mean, it's either this, or explain his whereabouts while Amy goes off to be a hero. I think getting captured is the lesser of two evils here. Another similarity between Tails' special and Amy's is how they emphasize traits of that specific character. Tails' was geared towards his intellect and gadget building skills to save the day. Amy uses her hammer, friendly nature, and most importantly, her fortune cards. I gotta say, that last trait has really been popping up these past few years. If you don't count the final issue of Archie Sonic, you can say the fortune card resurgence truly began in IDW Sonic issue 45. They would appear again in Sonic Origins as part of Sonic CD's new animated cutscenes, and they became part of Amy's moveset in Sonic Frontiers. Sega's even working with Inside Editions to publish real-life versions of the cards. Heck, even two of the covers for this special feature the cards. It's a little more difficult to notice on the main cover, but you can see the fortune card design in the background. It seems that the powers that be want to establish Amy as more than just the compassionate hammer-wielding powerhouse that she is. That said, the fortune cards really came in handy as they not only warned Amy of danger, they motivated her to search for her missing friends, while also causing a bit of headache for Metal Sonic in the process. As more of his plan unravels, I bet what's going through that robot's mind is, this is the same girl I kidnapped for Eggman on Little Planet? Speaking of, in a surprise bit of continuity, since these days the lore team is trying to hammer out the Sonic canon, each one of the cards that appeared in the special also showed up in the animated cutscenes of the Sonic CD portions of Sonic Origins. Amy did say the cards are signposts that are open to interpretation. So here's what I think the cards mean within the context of Sonic Origins. One of the cards Amy pulled in the beginning is the Sandopoulos ghost with a scythe. The same one she pulled just before she and her animal buddies had to hide from the approaching Metal Sonic. I guess we know what that card represents. The knight here represents Sonic, of course. The surrounded friends and two tails could mean Sonic will be followed by his soon-to-be new best friend, Tails. And finally, the Chaos Emerald card could mean Sonic is not going to give up against his crusade against Dr. Eggman, especially when both of them are after the Chaos Emeralds. I'm amazed they would go this far to reuse those specific cards for this special. Going back to the special, Amy did muster up enough courage to help bring down Metal Sonic. All thanks to Fang returning at a critical moment. Hey, they all want to make the robot pay. There is a nice callback to Sonic's 30th anniversary main story, as there, Amy developed a nice rapport with Bark at the end. Good to see that carried over to this tale. Amy having a flicky companion not only is a shout out to Sonic Adventure, its purpose is to have someone Amy can talk to regarding the card reading and so more people join her party. Plus, the bird comes in handy every now and then. I just realized this is the second anniversary special in a row that has our hero teaming up with birds. Besides the infamous Tails image, there is another game shoutout in the form of a Red Eye from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You'd think it would do something when things went nuts, but no, it's just an Easter egg. There is one other Easter egg that artist Aaron Hammerstrom snuck in that I want to point out. As Sonic was opening up egg capsules, two occupants appeared to be Honey the Cat and Classic Era Vector the Crocodile. The smoke is concealing them, but you can tell it's them. That's the thing with characters with regards to the classic and modern eras. The main cast can appear in both, but certain side characters are limited to one specific era. Some of them make sense. For instance, Shadow is in his 50-year hibernation during this time. Others, like the classic characters, wish they would have appeared in the modern era in some capacity. Then again, let's say Sega considers something like Knuckles Chaotix canon, and it's set in the classic era. How would they explain Charmy's presence in that game when in the modern era, he's considered 6 years old? Age is a big factor that defines these two eras, so maybe it's best left unanswered. Sorry if I went off on this tangent during the review of Amy's 30th anniversary, but again, we're back in the classic era, and how often do I get a chance to talk about it? I just love the more lighthearted aesthetic of it. I mean, look at the Egg Robo's designs. It makes them both adorable and dangerous. This is why I keep advocating for more adventures set in the classic era. Not only for the more lighthearted adventures, but as an excuse to see certain characters once again. What I do appreciate is that for the most part, Bean and Bark retain their Archie comic personalities. Well, it helps that Ian Flynn wrote the story, so I shouldn't be surprised. I want these two to appear in a proper Sonic game. If Fang's making a comeback in Sonic Superstars, why not his partners in crime? To wrap things up, and to bring it back over to Amy, I did enjoy this story. It felt like an Amy spin-off game in comic form, where she has to rely on her fortune cards, and the occasional hide-and-seek with Metal Sonic. I mean, we already had the classic era's take on Sonic Heroes, and a sequel to one of Tails' own spin-off games. Amy really used her wits and intuition to save the day, and is deserving of that recognition. Well, I don't have to speculate on whether or not we'll revisit this era for Knuckles' 30th anniversary, because IDW revealed during this past Comic-Con that a special is coming out in 2024 to celebrate Sonic 3's release. Since 2024 is also the 30th anniversary of Sonic Triple Trouble, Fang will also get in on the action, since it's his debut game. Can't wait to see how that plays out. With that said, thank you for joining me for this review, and have a good day. I can imagine that after the party, Amy goes home and begins writing a comic based on this adventure. No doubt she'll probably exaggerate on some things.